vibe. She been on my mind. Soon as I get back, she gets straight. Do this all the time. This ain't no surprise. Every other night another movie came in. Too hard, I'm staying too close.
What's up, y'all? So I'm getting ready for work right now. I'm actually getting ready to leave like within the next probably 5 minutes, but I'm actually working in Fuquay today, which is about well, actually a little less than an hour from my house. It's about 50 minutes, and I have to be there by 8, but typically I like to be at my assignments like 15 minutes before, so I'll be there by 7:45. So this is actually an office that I've been to before, so I already know the software, I already know the office, so it should be a pretty easy day. And yes, I'm going to work greasy. This is how you keep your skin good. You gotta be moisturized. So let's go. Before I head out, these are the scrubs I'm wearing today. We got the figs on today. You see me? So this top is a small and the bottoms are a medium. That's the thing about scrubs. Sometimes you have to mix and match your tops and bottoms. But yeah, figs are figging. All right, I'm out for real this time. So if you are new to my channel, welcome. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm a dental hygienist. I've been practicing for 7 years now. I initially started off in a corporate practice and I worked there for about 5.5 years. I actually liked it, but back in July of last year, I decided that I wanted to do temp hygiene, also known as traveling hygiene, and I actually really love it. I would say I would prefer travel over corporate or private practice, but that's just my personal opinion. I went through some things in the corporate world that I actually did not like. Although the office that I worked with was really good, after a while I just started noticing things that I was trying to advocate for and it just was not falling through. So no tea, no shade to my old office because it was a really great office, but I feel like travel is more of a convenience for me. So when I travel, I use 2 different apps. One is called Cloud Dentistry, and I will put the link in the description box below. And the other one is called GoTo. Also, it used to be called Temp Me, but it's now called GoTo. And then I also have some relationships with offices of my own that I just typically go to when they need me. So they'll either message me or text me and just ask me if I'm available. I'll tell them my days and then I'll come work. So right now I have about maybe 5 or 6 different offices that I consistently go to and rotate throughout, especially since it's been about a year since I've been temping full time. I get a lot of questions from people asking me should they do travel hygiene or go into a full-time office, especially new graduates. Usually I recommend start with traveling first, just so you can get your feet wet, you can get into different offices, and it's a great learning tool. You'll get to see different things that you like, different things that you don't like, when or if it comes time to you committing to a full-time office. Personally, when I first graduated, I did start off temping with an agency called Dentemps. I think they still exist. I really don't use that anymore, but it really is a good thing to do, especially if you don't want to commit to a full-time office and you're still trying to figure out where you would want to be as far as work. Now, as far as traveling long-term, I'm not gonna say it's for everybody, just because when you're traveling, you are going to different offices, of course. Different offices use different types of software, they have different types of x-ray systems, and they all run differently in general. So sometimes people who are used to the same thing, they really don't like that change. I wouldn't recommend traveling as a full-time thing. Now, for me personally, I learned very quickly, and I can confidently say I've probably worked with every dental software there is at that point. So going to different offices really doesn't bother me, but I do know that there are people who would rather have that sameness every day. So of course you can try out traveling or temping. You can maybe do it a few days a week if you want. Me personally, I choose my work schedule and I work about 4 days a week. Sometimes I do 5 because there are offices that I'll work at on a Friday and they close super early. Like I'll get off at 2 or 3 o'clock. So it's really not a big deal for me. I also get a lot of questions as far as traveling, what the pay is like, and how the taxes work and everything. So personally, for travel hygiene, I get paid by the day most times. I literally work and they cut me my check and I go home. Now, a lot of times taxes are not taken out of those checks. So me personally, I calculate how much taxes are supposed to be taken out, and I have a separate account to where I put the taxes for each day that I'm supposed to be taking out of my check. And that personally works for me. That way, when it comes down to tax time, I already have the money set aside that I need to pay. I know that was a very big deal for a lot of people, just wondering how that works. Now, there are some offices where you can get W-2 pay. Personally, I really don't like doing that in offices because I have been places to where you have to really track them down to make sure you get paid, and I personally don't like that. When I go into work, I expect my pay and I can go home. So I also get a lot of questions about how to get into a dental hygiene program, or how I even got to this point as far as being a dental hygienist. So starting off, basically a dental hygiene program is typically 2 years. There are some schools that do 4-year programs, but getting out of those programs, you'll pretty much come out making the same. The only difference is with the 4-year program, you can actually be a hygiene instructor or something like that. So if you weigh your options out, if you decide that you definitely don't want to be a teacher, then you don't have to get a 4-year degree. Personally, I got a 2-year degree and I went to a school called Fayetteville Technical Community College, which is personally probably one of the best hygiene schools ever, just because even though the program is really tough, they really prepared us very well. We took our boards and passed with flying colors, and it just was an all positive turnaround. So the first thing you want to do to get into a hygiene program is you want to go to your local community college and see what the requirements are to apply to the school. Now, personally, when I was in high school, I already took things like chemistry, and I also took my SAT. So when I went to go to the school, I didn't have to take a placement test, and I was already ready to go into the college level courses. Now, in some cases, like say if you had a lower GPA or you didn't take certain college prep classes, they will make you take a placement test. And that pretty much sees that if you are ready to go ahead and do the college level courses, or if you need to do some other things. So definitely make sure you find out if you need to take a placement test first and then go from there. As far as the prerequisites, which are the classes that you have to take before applying to the program, those were not hard at all for me personally. So you'll take classes like English, sociology, psychology, computer class, a college student success class. There's a few more, and the main grades that they're looking for when you get into the hygiene program are those science classes. So like the anatomy and physiology, microbiology, and biological chemistry. Now, personally, I took anatomy and physiology in high school because I was in a health admin program already. So I already knew a lot when it came to anatomy and physiology. So that and the microbiology actually were pretty easy for me. Now, the hardest class, I will say, for the prerequisites was the biological chemistry. I don't know if it was the instructor or what, but I definitely had a hard time in that class, and that was honestly the only class I had a hard time with for my prereqs. Now, I did pass, of course, but that class was tough. So when it comes to the prerequisites, I do get a lot of people that ask me, are the prereqs easy? For the most part, they really are, but the biological chemistry, that one was a bit rough. Once I finished my prerequisites, I had to take a TEAS test. This part is very important. I know at Fayetteville Tech, we took the TEAS test. There is another type of test that other states take, but I'm not sure what it's called. Definitely make sure you take that test before applying to the program, because if you do not have that test, then you will not get in. So basically, the TEAS test is like a placement test. It has English, some math, science, and things like that, and you have to take that before applying to the hygiene program itself. I can't actually remember what the passing score was, but I know I personally did not study for the TEAS test just because I already knew my academic capability, and being that it was only going to be like basic math, English, science, and pretty much most of the science that I had already learned, then I felt really confident going in. Now, they do make prep books before taking the TEAS test, so definitely do whatever works for you. If you know that you need to study for things like that, then make sure you study. But like I said, I knew what type of student that I was, so I felt like I didn't have to study. And with that one, I also passed during my first attempt. Once I was done with my prereqs and everything and taking the TEAS test, I actually had like half a semester to where I wasn't going to be doing anything because it wasn't even time to apply to the hygiene program, and I had already taken all of the classes. So basically that following year, I went ahead and applied to the hygiene program, and it took maybe about 2 to 3 months before you actually knew if you got into the program. And lucky for me, I got in on my first attempt because I personally told myself if I did not get in the hygiene program, I was going in the military, and that was my final decision. I knew for a fact that I wanted to go ahead and start my career and go ahead and get into a good career to where I could make good money and I wouldn't always be consumed into work. So after getting accepted into the program, we actually had an information session where they had all of the people that got accepted into the program. They told us the expectations. They told us pretty much what we were getting ourselves into. And of course, they gave us the hard talk about how you're going to be completely consumed in this program. They even told us that if we had husbands and kids or wives, that they would probably hate us because all we will know is hygiene, and nobody else will understand what we were going through except the people that were in class with us. And when I tell you, they did not lie. That program is tough. Getting into the program is super competitive. The school that I went to took in 32 students, and I'm not even sure how many actually applied, but they only took in 32. I've known schools to take in as few as 11. So that's why it's super important that you go hard in those prerequisites. Make sure you aim for A's. Now, during your prerequisites, your grade average cannot drop below a B. You definitely have to have a B or better or you won't get in. But aim for the A's because that's the scores they're looking for, especially the ones who only take in that small amount of students. 32 is kind of a big amount for the school that I went to, but like I said, there are schools that I've known to only take like 11 students. I also get questions from people who are indecisive of whether they should go the dental assisting route before doing hygiene. I say if you know for a fact you want to be a hygienist, go straight into hygiene. One of the things that they told us in our seminar before the hygiene program was if you are a dental assistant, forget everything you know about dental assisting because hygiene is not the same, which they didn't lie because there really is no sameness with hygiene and assisting other than the fact that you know teeth numbers, you know what filling surfaces are, and you know how to take an x-ray. Other than that, dental assistants really don't work with the instruments that hygienists work with. Dental assistants also are not considered providers, and also the pay is significantly different. So just make sure you know what you want to get yourself into. As a hygienist, we work independently and we are considered providers. With the assistant, they work directly with the dentist. They're the ones that are sitting chairside with the dentist, handing over things, taking impressions, and helping run the appointment with the dentist. So hygiene is a bit more independent, so definitely just kind of know which route you want to go. I personally say if you want to go straight hygiene, don't go dental assisting route, just go straight through hygiene so you can get it over with. So the program itself is 5 semesters. Pretty much the first semester we were getting into the field of knowing what dental hygiene was, learning different instruments, and really focusing on proper ergonomics, infection control, and things like that. And the toughest class the first semester probably was head and neck anatomy. Basically, we talked about different bones in the skull. We talked about teeth, what arteries are supplying what veins innervate what nerve of what tooth. So it was very complex, but of course you have to know this stuff. So my first half of the work day is done. It's currently 1 o'clock and I'm on my lunch break. Typically, a lot of offices that I go to, like where I get off at 5 o'clock, I get an hour lunch break, which is great. And then the days where I work at other offices, sometimes I'll work like 7 to 3 and it's just straight through with no lunch break, which I don't mind at all because the day goes by fast. But today I brought me some lunch. I got me some spaghetti, I got a mango, and then I also got a prebiotic poppy drink. And this honestly is my favorite prebiotic soda that I've tried. I've tried a few of them and they all just taste weird, but the poppy brand itself is really good. And the orange one is my favorite flavor. The first half of the morning went really smooth. I saw 5 patients, all recalls, just 1 patient every hour on the hour. And then this afternoon I have 4 patients. I have 2 of my appointments are 30 minutes long because it's kids. Typically for most kid appointments they schedule it for 30 minutes, which is no big deal, but the afternoon usually flies by so fast. So I'm gonna eat my lunch so we can finish out the day. So my second semester is when we actually really started working in each other's mouths, and we had family and friends come into the clinic so we could do things in their mouth as well. Basically everything that you would do on your clinic days is a grade. You'll know more when you get into the program, or if you're already in a hygiene program, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it can be really intense. One thing about the instructors that we had at Fayetteville Tech was that they always made it known that our position was not guaranteed in the program. And what basically happened is we would do clinic skills like with instrumentation, and you have to test in on those skills, of course, to pass. So the first attempt, you have one instructor watching over you and they have a clipboard just grading your clinic skills. If you don't pass that first attempt, you get 1 second attempt. But on that second attempt, you have 3 different instructors hovering over you with clipboards, all critiquing your instrumentation skills. And you pretty much have to sit in the hallway and wait for the final verdict. And if you do not pass that second time, then you get kicked out of the program. And that's how intense it was. Now, I'm not gonna lie, so the very one and only proficiency skill that I did not pass was my first semester when we did exploring, which was our very first instrumentation skill. When you get in the program, you will definitely see. But I didn't pass the first time, so the second time when I took it, I just remember being so nervous, but luckily I passed. And that's one thing about this program. It is extremely tough. So when it comes to taking those tests, you might have a test that you did not pass, and it is okay. You might have 2 tests that you didn't pass. But the most important thing is you'll pick yourself back up and you'll work harder the next time. It's not like you have to be perfect going into this program. You will definitely probably fail at least 1 test, and that's okay. The end of the second semester and all throughout the rest of the semesters is when you'll actually be seeing live patients in clinic. Now at my school, our dental clinic, we had a receptionist and she would schedule the hygiene appointments. But if your patient does not show up for that day, you pretty much have to walk the campus and find a patient and hope that they'll let you clean their teeth, because like I said, everything is a grade. Now, I would probably say the last semester is probably the most stressful and nerve-wracking, more so because you're trying to finish up all of your requirements to graduate on top of getting ready to take your board. So in order to make it all official, you have to take the national board, the state exam, and the license exam for your state. For the national board, it is a 7-hour-long computerized test of different questions of everything you've learned during the dental hygiene program. And that's one thing that makes this program tough, is that you have to learn this information, you have to retain it, and you have to remember it. The current fee for the national board exam in North Carolina is $565. And then you also have to take your state board, which is where you take a patient, or when I was in school, we took a live patient and we had to clean a quadrant of their mouth. Now, since COVID has happened, I'm hearing that they're not really doing live patients anymore. A lot of them are doing mannequins. So either way, you do have to take that exam as well. And that's where you clean plaque and calculus off of the teeth, and you pretty much get graded for it, which honestly is the easy part in my opinion, because you already know how to clean teeth anyway. I can't remember the exact fee for that one, but there definitely is a fee, and I want to say it costs more than the national board exam. And then you also have to take the laws test for your state. That one wasn't that much. I want to say it was maybe $100 and something, but you pretty much go to a facility and you take another computerized test about different laws as far as what dental hygienists can perform in your state. And what I mean by laws is that There's different duties and responsibilities that dental hygienists can and cannot perform in certain states. Like, for example, at one point in North Carolina, hygienists were not able to provide local anesthesia, but recently in the past couple of years, they passed the law that we can now, which is why some hygienists in North Carolina may or may not have their local anesthesia certification, while in other states, hygienists already were able to do things like local anesthesia. Also, there is a law called limited supervision, where in certain states, a hygienist can perform with or without a dentist present in the office. There are, in other states, like in North Carolina, hygienists cannot perform their duties unless there is a dentist physically in the office. So there's just different things and duties that hygienists can and can't do in different states, which is why if you decide that you want to cross states and get different licenses for hygiene, you have to know their state's rules, because it's not the same everywhere. Now, with the LAWS test, you actually get your test scores immediately. With the national exam and the state exam, you actually have to wait for those results, which is very nerve-wracking. I think it took maybe a month for me to get my results, but I definitely was checking every day. And at that point, once you pass, it's into the real world from there. I can personally say my experience in the real world has been great. Of course, the school portion, it is no easy thing. No matter if you're going to a university or a community college, it is not easy at all. So to the ones that are going into it, good luck with everything. Definitely make sure you stick it out and don't give up, because it definitely will get hard. And to the ones that have just graduated, congratulations. Welcome to the real world. Definitely don't get complacent. When you get into this career, don't become a hygiene prima donna, and y'all know exactly what I mean. But you'll definitely see that the real world is a lot different than being in school. You won't feel scared anymore. Of course, there will be hiccups in the real world as you're learning to navigate through the world of hygiene, but you'll get to learn things that you like and things that you don't like as a developing hygienist. And it's a great feeling knowing that you have patients that always want to see you, especially when you perform a good job. But my workday is done here. I'm just putting the room back together. I am a very big person on leaving a room how I saw it when I first came in. I like to leave it nice and neat. Some offices like to sweep and mop before you leave. I just try to make sure I do all the little housekeeping things so that when the hygienist comes back, the room is nice and tidy. But if you have made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any more questions, feel free to comment below and I will answer them as I can. Also, don't forget, if you are interested in starting a career as a temp hygienist or a temp dental assistant, those links will be in my description box and you can get your journey started. Thanks again for watching, y'all. Peace out.